Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're putting on our underwater architect hats. We're going to learn exactly how to build a stable, breathtaking reef ecosystem before a single drop of water even hits the glass. You see, if you want a genuinely successful reef aquascape, the real work starts long before you pick up your first piece of live rock. The ultimate goal here is to construct a framework that supports your corals, promotes absolutely perfect water flow, and looks incredibly intentional from every possible viewing angle, all while leaving enough open water for circulation. So let's dive right into this and design the perfect reef.
So, what is your tank's story? Seriously, before you even think about picking up a rock, you've got to hook your imagination. Are you trying to recreate a natural reef balmy? Maybe an imposing archway, a gentle, sweeping slope, or perhaps a more structured, symmetrical rockscape? You have to decide on this narrative first because it's going to dictate every single decision you make from here on out. It's the vision that will literally guide your hands.
All right, here is our blueprint for today's explainer. We're going to run through the Aquascape blueprint, building stable rockwork, designing for water flow, mastering visual balance, and finally preparing for those corals.
Let's kick things off with Phase 1, the Aquascape blueprint, and how to plan your space.
You absolutely must lock down these three key dimensions: the length, the front-to-back depth, and the maximum workable height. Why? Because you need to plan a structure that won't end up completely crowding your water column. You really need to know the literal boundaries of your underwater world so you can build something proportional. If you ignore your workable height, for instance, your corals might end up growing right out of the top of the water and asking for a towel. We definitely don't want that. Knowing your exact dimensions ensures you maintain that critical open space.
Moving right along to Phase 2, building stable rockwork, which is really your reef's foundation.
Okay, this concept right here is absolutely crucial, the dry fit. You should always construct and test your reef outside the tank first. Think of this as your sandbox to test out the scale, the overall shape, and even your intended coral placements. By doing this on the stand or maybe in a separate tub, you give yourself the complete freedom to make mistakes and experiment, totally free from the pressure of working underwater or accidentally scratching your really expensive glass.
While you're messing around with that dry fit, your #1 goal is a secure, rock-solid base. Avoid building those tall, skinny stacks that look like they could topple over if a fish sneezes. Instead, use a combination of larger base rocks and really lock them into place using smaller support pieces. Establishing a secure base like this drastically reduces the chance of a disastrous collapse when you add the heavy weight of corals later on. And remember, a growing coral colony gets surprisingly heavy, and a sudden collapse, that can destroy years of hard work in a matter of seconds.
Next up is Phase 3, designing for water flow. This is all about breathing real life into the tank.
You've got to elevate that structure. It is absolutely essential because it stops detritus from getting stubbornly trapped underneath your rocks. You can easily achieve this by using egg crate supports or by creating a small gap with pieces of rubble. Keeping the rocks slightly off the sand bed ensures water can freely move underneath, constantly flushing out waste and keeping your biological filtration running smoothly. Trust me, this one little trick is going to save you literally hours of maintenance down the road.
When setting this up, you have to picture the stark contrast between beautiful, overlapping, sweeping currents versus stagnant, dangerous dead zones. To create real, dynamic flow, you really have to think in terms of unobstructed paths. You'll want to place your dense rocks on the sides or maybe in a back reef wall, deliberately leaving a more open central area. This setup allows your powerheads to create those sweeping currents. If you block those paths, you're just creating dangerous dead zones behind your rocks where harmful debris is going to quickly pile up.
All right, Phase 4, mastering visual balance so we can create a genuinely natural look.
When it comes to aesthetics, it all relies heavily on the rule of thirds. You don't want to just plop a massive rock dead center. Placing taller structures along intersecting invisible grid lines looks far more natural, and it gives the viewer's eye a real sense of depth to travel through. Try placing your absolute tallest rocks to one side or toward the back, creating a gentle, gradual drop toward the front. And always leave negative space in the foreground for display, for future coral growth, and just to ensure your overall silhouette is instantly readable from your main viewing spot.
Now, if you decide to build an epic archway or a cave system to add a little drama, make sure it actually functions as a flow-through structure. An open arch is great because it allows water to circulate right behind and underneath it, but it's got to be rigid, and critically, you have to keep it away from the glass. If your rockwork is too close to the glass, debris will simply build up in spots where you can't reach it, and cleaning your tank will quickly become an absolute nightmare.
A pro tip here, try placing your largest feature rock slightly off-center and framing it with smaller pieces to create beautiful, natural-looking ledges.
And finally, Phase 5, preparing for corals, your final inhabitants.
Let's map out how your rock geometry directly dictates your coral placements. It's like a giant puzzle. Higher ledges and angled surfaces catch stronger, more turbulent flow, which is absolutely perfect for small polyp stony or SPS corals and anemones. Mid-level shelves and shaded overhangs, those are fantastic for your large polyp stony or LPS corals. Meanwhile, calmer pockets, which you can purposefully build through intentional gaps in the rock, are exactly what gentle movement species are looking for. Do not wait until everything is glued together to decide where your corals will live. Test all these intended placements out during that dry fit stage.
So once that dry fit is looking absolutely pristine and you've planned out your flow and coral real estate, it is time to lock it all in. First, secure the whole structure using reef-safe epoxy or porous rock adhesive and verify that stability one more time just to be sure. Next, run the tank with your pumps to confirm there are 0 persistent dead spots. Over the following weeks, keep an eye on any debris accumulation and adjust your pump direction or height nice and early. Finally, just be patient. Let the tank mature. Beneficial biofilm and algae growth take time, and the appearance of your reef will beautifully evolve if you just let it do its thing.
To wrap up this whole architectural plan, let's run through a quick mental checklist for flawless execution. Always dry fit for scale, stability, and viewing angles. Build a totally secure base to avoid any shifting stacks. Deliberately plan those open water paths to eliminate dead zones. Use height variation and negative space to create stunning visual depth. And lastly, properly match your rock ledges and flow strength to your specific coral placements.
You now possess the exact architectural blueprint needed to build an ecosystem that is, well, as incredibly functional as it is visually stunning. So the only question left to figure out is, what masterpiece are you going to create next? How will your next reef tell its story? Keep planning, keep learning, and I'll see you on the next explainer.